Hey everybody, Jason Burmas here. It is good to be back in action, back on YouTube after a 2-week ban hammer on a February 2021 video for medical Whatsky and Hutch. And you just never know. I don't know how much longer I'm actually going to be able to be on this channel, and I need your support. So before we get going, and basically what we're going to do here is we're going to go through the varying degrees of these sex scandals that seem to be at the hallmark of bringing down prominent figures, but talk about how in so many cases they're really managed to hide other scandals, okay? And there's just so much selective enforcement going on. That's the reality, all right? So before we get going, let's thumbs it up, subscribe, and share. Rockfin. That's where you're going to find me uncensored, as well as over at Rumble. I need you Rumblers. Come on over to Rumble. That's where you find everything that I can't say here, as well as Podbean. You can support the broadcast, $9.99 a month, over at Rockfin. Hit that subscribe button on a desktop, and then you get so many other people, okay? So many other great researchers out there. And with the Epstein case in particular, which is what we're going to start with here, and we're going to go over everybody in the thumbnail and the varying degrees of which we know they got away with crimes, the varying degrees of which how they're handled in the public, okay? For instance, Spacey's walking around on movie sets right now, okay? And some mysterious things have happened via the Spacey accusers, all I'm going to say. But those things are still progressing, especially the Anthony Rapp case, where if you remember when he first came out, it was, Kevin Spacey finally saying, yes, he's a homosexual, when we were talking about the alleged applying of alcohol and attempted sexual assault of a 14-year-old boy. Not the same thing. And the media ran with that, okay? We're going to talk Cuomo. He's probably going to be the beef of this because not enough people talk about Cuomo and Build Back Better and how he's actually the originator in the States. Wasn't Kamala Harris and Zombie J, okay? Important stuff. So let's start with Epstein. Thumbs the video up, subscribe, and share. The meme going around everywhere, and I'm hearing it repeated ad nauseum. Ad nauseum. Where's the client list? Why don't we have the client list? We need the client list. Let's stop for a second, okay, with this imagination land, almost Bernaysian phrase of where's the client list? There are so many names that are publicly available, not just as an associate of Epstein, okay, because I promise you, with his numerous contacts, there are plenty of people in these books, etc., that were not sexually assaulting children, right? I really hope, for instance, Chris Tucker, although he was riding on a plane with Kevin Spacey and Bill Clinton on Jeffrey Epstein's jet, is not somebody that was taking part in the abuse of children. I don't know one way or the other, right? And I don't know whether there's really any accusations out there other than what we've seen in the public view. So I'm going to name some names that have been publicly available, and then I'm going to point out the client list. Who cares about the client list? We're looking at Maxter hard drives of information that the picture of was entered into the Ghislaine Maxwell case, right? It was entered in the Ghislaine, but not what was on it. We're looking at the safe and some of its contents, but much of, again, what was on the discs and in the photographs that they had there was not entered into evidence, okay? And here are more burned CDs, again, with information on them. Right here, an AV shoot, okay? We don't know what's on it. And there are the binders, of which, you can see here, many of the things are blacked out. Blacked out. Stop with the client list nonsense. The FBI, again and again, as you're going to see, is often the cover-up crew in this and manages the situation because so many of these people in entertainment, politics, etc., are connected to others. And you can get to a pretty high degree, like Peter Nygaard, of wealth. I mean, you're talking about a man that was literally running an alleged baby factory, in the sense that he was taking models, impregnating them, making them have abortions. Okay? Forget about the Zorro Ranch baby-making factory, again reported in the mainstream media. But then injecting the stem cells. And, you know, Nygaard openly would talk about this stuff. We've played it on the show. By the way, get your questions and comments in, because we are going to go to you guys. So let's stop with the client list stuff and say, forget about the client list. Where are the arrests? Because you don't really need any kind of an investigation when you have hardline video evidence and flight logs and photographic evidence, right? And then to name some of the names that were actually accused of abuse, okay? Because remember, when we're talking about sex scandals, the sex scandal, for instance, that took down Bill Clinton was the Monica Lewinsky scandal. A lot of other things going on there in Bosnia, Croatia at the time. Even some Bin Laden stuff. Throwing it out there, guys. Throwing it out there. And with the Epstein case, I have not seen any evidence that he has been, at least with the public documents, publicly accused of underage girls in this case. And remember, human trafficking, you often get these people as younger and teenagers. For instance, in the paperwork that we know, Epstein supposedly bought somebody who would help him abuse women and became really one of his right-hand men, if you will. Like another arm of the Ghislaine Maxwell side of things, of managing all of this, right? So you look at that, you're like, wow, that is insane. It sure is. But just look up the name Nadia Marcinkova. Okay, so now let's talk about not a client list, but people that have been named to do some very bad things in those documents. Bill Richardson, former governor of Nevada, where Zorro Ranch was, very connected to the Clintons. Council on Foreign Relations, had run for president in 2008. There's a name, George Mitchell. Astronaut, senator. Glenn Dubin, another name already out there. Ehud Barak, another name already out there. Okay? So those names, again, Dershowitz has been named, and he's been in court. We already have a very, very steady list of people that have been accused of doing very, very bad things. And that's not to say that there isn't a much wider list, but when we talk about clientele, all right, we don't know if this person was, this network was acting as kind of like a Heidi Fleiss, where it was an everyday business, like let's traffic these girls to as many people as possible. No, it was more honeypot operations, as we know, with the New York mansion, for blackmail. Nick Bryant is going to be coming on the program, hopefully sometime this week. He's just done a really great piece. We're going to be going over that. But it's called The Jeffrey Epstein Cover-Up, and you can read the rest. And then even when we're done, Epstein finally gets arrested. He doesn't, he commits suicide twice, basically. Fails the first time. Just a slew of coincidences happen. And then Ghislaine Maxwell's on the run for like a year. They find her. And then other people throw out absurdities, right? Even worse memes, Her big meme was, show us the mugshot. I went to Ghislaine Maxwell's hideout the day after she got arrested in New Hampshire. Sure looked like she was there to me. Sure looked like she was in a legitimate hideout where no one would have found her unless she wanted to be found. But again, the GPS data, technology. So, another meme associated with Jeffrey Epstein and others of that caliber was what? The dead man's switch. Or Ghislaine will release the tapes. Who's got the tapes? I'll tell you who has the tapes. Law enforcement. All right? The National Security Agency. And I'm not talking about low-level of law enforcement. At some point, it may have exchanged into those hands, but that was probably very brief in nature. All of these things were secured. Well, what did you think, that Ghislaine Maxwell was going to be some, her foray was not in the digital realm, okay? These are socialites. It's a different type of craft. So to think they had backups of all these things, especially if they were contracted out, and that wouldn't be taken care of by the powers that shouldn't be, I don't know what to tell you, okay? So remember, get those questions and comments in there. We're going to bring it down the line, and we're going to talk some Anthony Weiner, okay? Anthony Weiner, again, the Weiner laptop in the hands of what? Law enforcement, the federales, little slaps on the wrist when he gets caught sexting a girl on Skype, which had nothing to do with the feds coming forward, by the way. We covered that years ago for We Are Change. You see how that works? All right? This is called Reality Sauce USA. And now he gets a podcast and a radio show. And you can go see it on WABC. Is WABC going to hire Jason Burmas to do a podcast or a radio show? You know what I don't have? A bunch of scandals involving the worst of the worst. That's what. The worst of the worst. Okay? And I'm not sure whether Curtis Silva is a part of this or not. This new podcast, it was announced that he was, and shame on you, Curtis, if you did go through with it. But it seems like it's now just in the middle, or the middle with Anthony Weiner. He should be in the middle of a lunch line at a federal prison. That's where he should be. But again, these scandals that are out there, it's all limited focus. The Ashley Biden diary, well, that was booted. Tucker Carlson finally went on the barrage of talking about inappropriate showers with her father that are in the diary that was obviously real the moment you saw the federales come in and start arresting people from Veritas. That was it for me. That's when I decided, hey, this is real. Let's report on this. And then 7 months later, the Tuckster's still the only one in the mainstream media to highlight this fact. Right? Now, we've already seen video after 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 video, and I could keep going, of Zombie J manhandling and smelling children. The bike incident that just happened, right? The bike incident that just happened. Do you know why he veered off? Watch what he does when he gets up off the bike. He talks to the only little kid in the crowd. The only little toddler in the crowd. Oh, boy. He's got hairy legs. And they stand up in the water. And kids come over and rub him up and down. And sit on my lap. And he loved kids sitting on his lap. I mean, wow. So again, varying degrees. Joe Biden's been a good puppet of the predator class for decades. Great mouthpiece for their agenda again and again and again. And that's what this is. It's all mouthpieces. See, where he was a mouthpiece in the past, he now gets to be a visual puppet for in-your-face gaslighting of our country, of our culture, and of our very humanity on a daily basis. Right? On the flip of that, they gave us Andrew Capo Cuomo to try to project him as being a savior. Okay? The old Capo. And we're going to move it over here. Now, at the end of the day, Andrew Capo Cuomo should have been what? In prison or on trial or removed for his policies that hurt people during that 2+ year period. Okay? And those, I say 2+ because he was out of there before that. But Hochul, unelected, even worse, same agenda. Okay? And what I want you to see here is how this is all scripted. How these people are put in place. Okay? Because they are puppeteered. It's going to be a break from some of the scandals, then we're going to get back to the scandals. All right, but this is an example of the type of thing that they don't want you to pay attention to because, again, his policies were nightmarish, and they made it about a grab-ass scandal that they never criminally prosecuted him on, and he got to go into the night quietly. Well, this is what he was really up to.
So, last point is we go from today to tomorrow. But
today to tomorrow. It's time, guys, it's going to be time to build back a better tomorrow.
We talk about the new normal. This also has to be an opportunity where after this horrendous period that we have gone through on every level, after the exorbitant cost of this, the personal pain of this, the death of this has to be one of those moments in time when we look back where we say society transformed.
Oh, we're going to transform society. This is April 17th, 2020. If there's an American politician that did this before April 17th, and remember, they were talking about at this point, they were going to run this guy, maybe for president. Okay? Yeah, I mean, he's going to break it down. He's going to get into environmental changes. Huh.
It was a learning and growth and transformational period where growth and evolution was accelerated. Yes, society took a terrible blow, but it became a moment of reflection where all sorts of new reforms and innovations happened.
Reforms and innovations, okay, that's code word for authoritarian dictates, okay, and changes to your lifestyle.
That's what we have to do with this period when they look back at it. So our goal is not, let's get up and turn the machine back on and keep going the way we were. No. How do you make the changes now that you've been talking about in some cases for years, by the way, but you never had the political will to do it, or it was too hard, or it was too difficult? We talk about environmental changes that we're going to make, but we never really do it. We talk about issues of income inequality, but we never really get there. You know, we talk about changes to our public transit system, but it's too hard, it's too controversial. All right, well, now you have an opportunity in this window to really make changes and reforms and improve things in a way you haven't. And by the way, if you went through this, and you went through this pain and aggravation and suffering, and you didn't learn, well, then shame on us. Then shame on us, because there are so many lessons to learn.
Yeah, the lesson is that you can be dictator-esque, like Andrew Capo Cuomo, and again, instead of a real investigation into your policies and crimes that hurt people, it's time for grab ass and for you to kind of part ways and ensure that that same agenda is carried on through another Muppet.
And then you come back better than you were.
Oh, we're better.
9/11. New York took a terrible beating. This nation took a terrible beating. We learned from it. We grew. We're better. 9/11 transformed the country.
Sure did. Sure did. And that's why I made 2 films about it. And if you still don't really understand how integral 9/11 was and how you were lied to about it, Fabled Enemies and Loose Change Final Cut are for you. You can find those in the playlist section 100% free. Let's get over 100 thumbs up. Remember, this is Cuomo's Build Back Better proposal in the United States, April 17th, 2020. These should be the scandals. I still don't hear his name enough when you talk about this great reset agenda because he had the ear of the nation at the time.
If I told you before 9/11 you were going to take off your shoes when you went to an airport before you could get on an airplane, and they were going to go through every bag and you would say, I'm never doing that. 9/11 said this is a different world. Look at all the security measures we now have post 9/11 that we would have never envisioned. We went through Hurricane Sandy. We didn't build back what was. You build back better than before.
Okay. Do I need to say anything else? Do you get it? You build back. He gives the presentation. He's the build back better face. Andrew Capo Cuomo. He did his job. Okay. They made it about another scandal, and he was able to part ways. All right. They kind of burned his brother a little bit too in that scandal. I just want to say that's a real thing. So, you know, to get back to the Biden thing really quickly. You know, again, I put the People one up there because it was the first article. You got to go quite a bit down when you type in Biden inappropriate showers to get anything of substance. And it's always, you know, trying to be divisive. Nygaard, we mentioned him before. This guy looks like he's going the way of JeanLuc Bertrand. By the way, if you don't know, JeanLuc Bertrand, another one of these high-level modeling agency guys trafficking in children, all right, recently hung himself in a prison in Spain in February. Now, his lawyer said he may have tried to kill himself several times before that. I would say this. It's a possibility that could be the case. Why? Because you don't know the kind of situations that you're put in prison. You know, if they want to make it uncomfortable for you there, pretty easy to do so. Okay? Kevin Spacey, judge rules sexual assault against embattled actor can proceed. So this is continually happening, right? Continually happening. But at the same time, Spacey in Croatia on the set, not in jail. Very, very connected to, you know, people like, I don't know, Harvey Weinstein. Again, Epstein connection, Clinton connection. You know, Weinstein's another one. One of those cautionary tales that, you know, you might think that you have power and you're running a certain aspect of these operations in Hollywood, for instance. You know, one of the things that they never really did focus on with Weinstein were the allegations of underage girls as well. The 16-year-old model. I remember reading that story on air. But at the same time, it looks like, you know, he's burned. Will they burn Spacey? I don't know, man. They kind of like Spacey, and Spacey's pretty cutthroat. And then Bill Gates. We had to do Bill Gates because the sex scandal, again, that they want to talk about is his infidelity that may have caused the separation between him and his wife, instead of the possibility that, you know, he was involved in this Epstein network. Now, not everybody has given him a pass there, but you could talk about those. What about the real scandals that we can't talk about here because we're on YouTube right now? And you know damn well what those scandals are. They involve the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. They involve the 1984-esque nightmare that we all just suffered through. Okay? Those are the real scandals. So I think at the end of the day, when we're going to go to your questions and comments right now, at the end of the day, you know, a sex scandal is a lot of the time something that can also be managed, especially when you're talking about underage children. You can always go to something else. It can also manage another scandal. And, you know, there are really going to be varying degrees of cutthroat behavior depending on how much knowledge that person has and how cooperative or how dangerous they could be to those around them. So let's do it. Let's get into it, and let's start taking some questions. Let's see. We're still on the books, Rutherford Mapplethorpe. And by the way, before we do that, again, thumbs it up, subscribe, and share. I want to see if we got any Rockfin tips. It does look like we do have a couple. So let's get those really quick. Chris Leon, was Michael Jackson a child abuser? I don't want to say the word, Jason. Did you ever do any other research and went to Neverland? Did you follow the trial in 2005? I'll say this. There's a lot more court filings and cases than just the ones that are focused on in the Neverland Ranch. I think there's a lot of evidence out there that Michael Jackson was abused. I don't want to say the name because I don't want to get in trouble for cyberbullying. But let's just say Quincy something. Quincy something. You know, has been alleged to, you know, do sort of those types of things. Okay. And, you know, people who are abused often end up abusing as well. Occult Priestess, great to see you out there. She's showing me some love. We appreciate that. Okay, let's do it. let's get it on. Let's get with the questions. Let's see. Still on the books. Yep. I'm looking forward to the show. Well, thank you. I hope you're enjoying the show. Happy Independence Day weekend, Jason. Yes, we're going to some fireworks. Myself, my girlfriend, and her daughter on the Mississippi River tonight. I'm very excited about that. Quad Cities. What? Love you, brother. God bless from Brevard County, Florida, the land of SpaceX and NASA. Vandenberg. Oh. Rumble has not worked for me. Why not, Ginger? You got the app? What's up, Ricky Rants? What up, y'all? How long do we give Gizzy? I don't know. It's a great question. You know, there's a lot of allegations out there. Her lawyer is making statements that people have been contracted to take her out or offered $1 million. I mean, yowza. Let's see. Someone's giving her the summer. What do you think about Steve Middleton found hanging in a tree with a self-induced shotgun hole in his chest? What do you think? I mean, the guy had, I believe it was an electrical cord around his neck and hanging from a tree and somehow had a hole in his chest from a self-inflicted shotgun wound. It's pretty wild. And according to Radar Online, on a property connected to the Clintons. We did a show on that. I don't want to say your moniker, but yeah, you can check that out. That's out there. And remember, Rumble, Rockfin, Podbean. Let me say it again. Rumble, Rockfin, Podbean. I hope I don't get kicked off of here for good because it's out of control if I do. You know? What's up, QWERTY? Recognize you from Kyle's streams. Oh, we're talking inside. When they sentence R. Kelly, they should also sentence the parents of the victims who knew their daughters chasing a man just because he was a rich and famous singer. I think, you know, a lot of that stuff is true. You know, especially in the case of the tape and the case of Aaliyah. And they sentenced him to 30. He's got more charges coming up. But I'm in agreement with you. For me, you're not wrong. Let's see. Well, that blackmail operation is over. Obviously, they have another one. I'm sure they had a bunch set up. Other than that you've never heard about. Operation Midnight Climax, the CIA's MK Ultra brothel coast to coast program that we know about. What do you think about restarting the Hadron Collider on July 5th? I think that the Hadron Collider is one of those things where I believe they were probably doing that type of work underground. Obviously, this is also underground, but I'm talking about beforehand on a smaller level. I'm not sure right now how high-tech the Collider is as in comparison to what they openly said they were going to be building, I think all the way back in Bilderberg 2017, which is now 5 years ago, okay? They were talking about building a much larger Collider. And, you know, I think that there's a lot of speculation as to what the Collider is capable of in accordance with nature of the universe and a lot of disinformation out there as well, okay? Chris Tucker seemed like a good guy. You know, apparently it was, you know, they were on their way to a humanitarian mission in Africa. But again, you know, a lot of these people are prominent people, and they seem to do good things, and they have a certain persona. Who knows? Loved him in Fifth Element. I really feel like, well, I mean, I like Chris Tucker. He's funny, you know, and he's not somebody who's stayed in the spotlight for a very long time. He hadn't been there for a while. Yeah, this is important public interest evidence. WTF kind of justice system is this? It's the injustice system. Tucker, a good friend of the Big Harpo, bad juju. I don't know who Big Harpo is. What up, my brother? Hey, RR, good job infiltrating that crock of a rally yesterday. I don't know who RR is. Oh, Ricky Rants. Okay. Forgot about that LCINE at list. Oh, the client list. Forget about the yes. Forget about the client list. Again, it didn't work that well. All right, first of all, how do I say this? Yeah, so I can get this through to people. There is no client list. Let me repeat it for you. There is no client list. Okay? It's a dumb thing. What there is are massive amounts, okay? Massive amounts of records and contacts, and then meetings with those contacts, and flight logs with those contacts that we could have. And then with those that did abuse girls that were procured through this system, there are photographs and videos of them doing so. Not everybody in the contacts list, okay, are going to be abusers. Now, there are also probably records, as we know, because we've seen some of the post-its they're in. Again, and this is stuff that you can understand once you've looked at the documents and not just watched memes. You're not memeing all the time. Where it talked about underage children being procured and gotten for individuals. Okay? So there's a massive amount of evidence they've done this. And there's plenty of people, again, that have been named. We named a list for you of people that have been named in the documents. And it goes well beyond that. But again, why aren't there arrests based on the massive amount of evidence we know they have? Because it's the cover-up crew. That's why. Actors act, only act, be not deceived. The Johnny Depp case sure was important. Glad they didn't even mention Ghislaine until the case was closed. But again, you had to know that was coming. Okay? I mean, once you had a situation with the Ghislaine Maxwell case where you wanted just courtroom sketches. If you notice, it's not just Ghislaine Maxwell, by the way. Any type of abuse scandal involving high-level people and children, that brings us, again to R. Kelly. Back to R. Kelly, you got almost the same amount of coverage in the R. Kelly case as you did with that. And they had a similar media feel before and during the arrests. In other words, the specials were coming out. People were re-looking at it in the case. That's what really pushed for their arrests in the first place, media. So we live in an, unfortunately, infotainment, media-driven society. And the Johnny Depp thing just, it isn't a thing to me. Like I didn't watch a minute of the Amber Heard Johnny Depp case. I couldn't care less. WTF? Divisionary tactics. What's that? Hey, Jason, just say, what does that even mean? I'm like, who are the, I don't know whether to show that or hide it or it's such a random comment. Do you think they still have all the hard drive? Of course they, what? I don't think anything. What do you mean do I think? Of course they do. These are boxes of Maxter hard drives. What do you mean? Of course they I'm just gonna, we're just gonna move on from that one. Okay. Again, the pictures of the hard drives were entered into the case. The evidence of the on the hard drives was not. Now, if we had real investigations, they've had these for years. And you would think if you had videos and photographs of people in high levels of power abusing children, and we had a justice system, they'd be in prison. But they're not. And this is echoed in the Hunter Biden laptop, and this is echoed in the Anthony Weiner laptop. Okay? Just wowsy McGee. Let's see. Richardson, New Mexico, Zorro Ranch. Correct. Get him, Jay. Thank you. When they sentence R. Kelly, we didn't. Okay, sorry. They should also sentence. Yeah, we said this already. Let's not repeat ourselves. I try to read everything I can. Happy Independence Day. Thank you. By the way, there was another Clinton accuser that did not go public immediately. I don't know anything about that, but I can tell you this again. They know these people are sexually compromised. How much press, and again, everything is selectively put out there. How much press did the Jennifer Flowers stuff get with Clinton, right? Got another tip from Rockfin. Elijah, how are we? Elijah Kramer. Little off topic, but I've always thought that Elon Musk may be the Antichrist. Today, he disappears from the dark period with the Pope. I did see he was with old Joey Francis. Sorry to stray from the main topic. You know I love you. I appreciate it. Well, again, that's another system of power where we know that Cardinal Ratzinger, before he was Pope-rageous, before it ain't your daddy's Pope Joe Francis came in, we have him in documentation moving priests around, what? That were doing bad things to children. It's a running theme in power. Okay, so Charles is now banned. Bill Gates, he's not what that is. I mean, like, these people, think about how ridiculous some of these people are. Don't need him on the channel. You know, people want you to get kicked off, or they're just mentally ill. I mean, all that stuff. Let's see. I don't know anything about Charlamagne. If you got some information, send it my way. Ghislaine on suicide watch. But again, you don't know what the situation they put her in. That's all I'm saying. Mad Max, why they are after R. Kelly but not Jay-Z and Puff Daddy? Something else is going on. Again, I don't know. You're bringing up things without any evidence. I don't know anything about those people or any cases against them. And we don't speculate here. Everything we do, we back up with documentation. It's how we roll, right? It's the way to go. That's how you have something called credibility. Just saying. Okay. Virginia sold out. Those tapes probably have been incinerated months ago. No, there isn't actually, Sabrina. There was one person and we banned them. So that's weird that you would even say that. A lot. No. See how the online trolls operate, guys? Let's see. Wiener Top. Let's see. What was the name of that street? Wasn't it like giveaway name too? Wasn't it like a giveaway name? Oh yeah, it was the Tucked Away. She was in. It wasn't. I forget what. It wasn't the street, but she had a thing. If you go back to, again, the day, you'd have to go look it up. It's probably 2 years ago, 2 summers ago now. It was on my adventure in wow, it's probably close to 2 years ago right now that I did that across the country during the COVID 1984 nightmare. And I started in New Hampshire and met up with the Jackmans, and they came with me. Shout out to Mike and Eric. Love those guys. Why is he not in jail? I'm not sure who we're actually talking about. Let's see. Unbelievable. FBI just sitting on all this evidence and holding it like cards. Correct, Doug. Correct. Oh, so it was just Charles Lee. Okay, yeah, we got rid of him. DMX was the real one. He exposed everyone in the industry. R.I.P., dog. Let's see. Carlos Danger has a podcast. Okay, so now you got to go. We don't know that. And it's like we'll see you later. I mean, just, guys, we try to keep it real here, but like a lot of people want to try to get this channel banned. Also, a woman who called into Larry King in the 90s. Yes, we know about that. That's funny, kind of. We can go with that. He knows all about, what's that? Is this more of that? Am I going to have to ban somebody else? God, how this has devolved, guys. We had a really good broadcast going here. Let's see. Hey, Jason Burmas, Bakersfield. How we doing? Let's see. Era COD bigot. Just because there are bad people. Last time I checked, the Rockefellers aren't. Yeah, and listen again. Don't even give those people any attention. He may have killed his first wife and daughter to get the babysitter. I don't even want to get into that because I'm not saying anything. I know what you're talking about, but I don't know any evidence of that. Incarceration only for the little people or the fall guys. Or sometimes you go beyond your means and you're just too arrogant. Look at Nygaard. They'll bring somebody down, but they're not bringing the whole system down. Been following Burma since Loose Chains. Red pilled ever since. Hopefully heads will roll. I don't know anymore. I doubt it. I mean, look up Heath out in the UK. Let's see. They love alliterating. Burmas is older than you think. What, does someone think I'm young? I'm half. What? I don't see. Yeah, I'm not. What's this? 2 years. I've been following Burmas for the last 2 years. Great info. Thank you, Ryan. Appreciate that. Burmas is one sharp young man. Thank you. I appreciate that, man. But I'll be 43 this month. 43 is happening this month. It's really here. Let's see. Shouldn't U.S. Customs have all the logs of all the people? They do. Listen, again, the injustice system with people like Bill Barr in it back in the day, okay? Yeah, and Robert Mueller are there as the cover-up crew. Limited hangout when it's too much. That being said, we did 40 minutes. I'd go through more. But I think we got some good questions in. We did a nice little broadcast over here. Let's wrap it up by having people come on down and making sure they rumbling. Guys, if you missed me the last 2 weeks, everything's on Rumble, uncensored. It's your friend. I need people over on Rumble. You want it, you got it. We rumbling. Okay? Rockfin. I need your support now more than ever. $9.99 a month or $99.99 for the entire year, and you get everybody else's premium content. Buy me a coffee, $5, $10, $15. It means the world to me. Big donors, I couldn't do it without you. We are trying to expand. We'll see if the paperwork is ready on the building. But once that happens, there's almost going to be too much Burmese content. But too much Burmese content better bring in some revenue so we can continue on, because times are tough all over. And hey, you want to see my stuff? It's all free in playlists, especially the documentary films, over at YouTube. Over 2,000 plus videos over there. Loose Change, Final Cut, Fabled Enemies, Invisible Empire, A New World Order Defined, and Shade the Motion Picture. This broadcast was brought to you by those that understand the situation we are in is not about left or right, but about right and wrong. And this great reset is very, very real. So we better come together and become the great resistance to it. I love you guys, and I will see you on the flip side.